Hello and welcome to CGTN, China Global Television Network. My name is Li Zhao, and right beside me is my colleague.
Shenzhen here.
Right now we're in Shenzhen. We're in the public square.
Yes, we are. And so this is the final destination for CGTN's
special program called the Real-Time China. So first of all, tell us viewers, what is Real-Time China?
So the Real-Time China is a special program designed by CGTN to celebrate the 40th anniversary for China's reform and opening up. So we drove
all the way from Beijing, our capital, to here, Shenzhen.
Yes.
So why are we choosing Shenzhen as our final destination?
So if you're thinking about China's reform and opening up, Shenzhen is the frontier. If we think about it 4 decades ago, this is a small fishing village.
But look at it now, ladies and gentlemen. If our camera can pan to that side, those tall buildings, it is a mega city.
And it's home to companies like Huawei and Tencent. And look at where they are now, right?
And I'm so excited right now because we finally made it after 10 days of journey on a bus on our CGTN caravan. So why are we calling it CGTN caravan?
Definitely, we are traveling in an army, and we have 2 satellite vehicles, and we have smaller buses to carry other people like technicians, camera person, and of course like me.
Domestic reporters like you. I'm not lucky enough to join the entire 10 days, but Shenzhen, you did, right? You've been here for the, no, not here, but like you've been with the journey for the entire 10 days.
10 days, yes.
So how does it feel right now? Tell me.
I mean, I believe this is the longest trip that I've ever been to.
I've never been to any kind of trip like that.
And this is the most thorough trip that I've taken here in China. We've stopped by so many different places, like big cities like Shenzhen. We've also stopped by Tianjin.
And also Guangzhou.
And then we also visit like smaller villages.
Like Jiaowan village, which me and our CGTN America reporter Sean has visited there. I think Sean will be joining us later, so we can talk about that. And Shenzhen, we did a live stream together, you remember?
Yeah, and we visited Shigu Academy.
Right, that's it's said to be one of the 4 greatest ancient China's academy.
Yeah, in the Song Dynasty.
Do you remember what we did there?
And we bowed to Confucius.
For 3 times.
Yes.
That's a tradition if you guys don't know. So you gotta bow to Confucius 3 times before actually entering the academy.
Yeah.
If we want to go this way, I think it's beautiful this way. All right, so really our trip is not just about what has changed over the 40 years, the 4 decades since China's reform and opening up, but also like what has retained, what has remained the same.
Yeah, how to preserve the culture
and the legacy, right? Because Chinese culture is so long and
we'll think about it 5,000 years, right?
Absolutely, and I think that is this trip is mainly for. Like we know like what has China really experienced over the 40 years.
It's not just about economic growth, and because we have sustained and maintained a high-speed economic growth, and now people are more willing to look back at like our roots, right?
Yeah,
like Shigu Academy where we visited.
And I remember after visiting Shigu Academy with you, I went to, Emperor Yan's. Actually, I saw our reporters, Lindy and Sean, come join us. Right.
Come over here.
All right. So, you guys know since, CGTN really wants to give full perspectives. That's why we're bringing Sean from CGTN America and also Lindy from CGTN Africa to join us. So, you guys been covering, you mainly was the first 2 legs and you mainly was the 3rd leg. Tell me, what's your most memorable moment?
I'd say probably my most memorable moment was...
Shall we walk as we talk?
Yeah, sure. It was the Shaolin Temple. Yeah,
and I was there too.
You were there too.
Oh, you guys were there together.
It was -5 degrees that morning.
Jeez, that was cold.
At about 8 o'clock we were already on the main kind of field or main square where young people, well, not really, all different ages come and train at the martial arts school there. And that morning, it was estimated that there were about 8,000 students.
Wow. Yeah.
8,000 students?
Something incredible to see.
And they were just wearing like short sleeves and satin-made clothes, and we were like in down jackets and
it was
like
freezing.
several layers, right?
But I think up until that moment, Kung Fu had been something that primarily existed either as, either in the world of fiction
movies,
or as a hobby that some people just participated in. But just the dedication, the hard work, the precision, the focus of 8,000 people performing these, like, I don't know, moves and set pieces and things. It was really, really amazing.
And that is a China you've never seen before.
No, not in real life. Only on TV, exactly, yeah. So that was probably my highlight, yeah.
All right, so what about you, Sean?
You know, it's interesting because your most memorable moment was with him, and I think mine was with you when we met Guo Yi. We were in a small town, Nanchang.
While we're stopping here, let's keep walking.
We were doing on poverty alleviation, the efforts that, you know, trying to lift hundreds of millions out of poverty since reforms began, and we met a farmer, very simple man, and his daughter who had a disability, and she was 14 years old, and what I thought is no matter where you are in the world, people are all the same.
Yeah.
You could see the father's pride for the young girl, and she had her academic achievement award taped up to the wall, and we talked to her about it. You could see her face light up.
Yeah.
And she was just so engaging, and she was working on her English, and she was just such a cute child, and she was very precocious, very outgoing, and you could see that no disability was ever going to hold her back. She was going to do, you know, have a better life than her father. I mean, she sensed that's what he wanted for her, and I think people on the continent of Africa, people in the United States, everybody wants that. I mean, we saw some amazing things driving through the Jinggangshan Mountains that were at the very top. They were iced over and frosted, so as you went up, it was eerie, it was misty, and the food too. I mean, the food was just absolutely amazing from one end, and very different too.
Is it too spicy?
No, it was great. It was great. Sichuan, is that how I say? Sichuan?
Sichuan, yeah, Sichuan. You know, when you're going down to southern part, the food gets more spicy, I think.
But not here in Guangdong.
No,
so
right.
we visit like Chinese traditional culture like Kung Fu, and then we
let's go this way. I think our TV crew almost wrap up their thing. So let's.
And we also did reports on like tackling Chinese social issues. But here we're in Shenzhen, and the entire program, the trip is for China's reform and opening up. I believe both of you have spent days here reporting and, for example, visiting the bridge. So how was it?
Well, it's amazing. If you think about where this country was 40 years ago, 18% of the people lived in cities. Virtually everybody got around on a bicycle. You lived near where you worked, so you didn't travel a whole lot. And now look at it. I mean, you know, you just have this wonderful skyline. We are in the cutting edge technology in the United States. They call this the Silicon Valley of China. And it's just come so far so fast. And we saw an example of it this morning in Dongguan at a company that makes power supplies, uninterrupted power supplies for data services and for computers, and it was a microcosm of what's going on in this country because so many people came from small villages to work on the assembly line.
Yes.
And so like 70% of the workers at that place work on the assembly line. They came from other places, and that's what you're seeing. So you see this very graphic image of how China is lifting itself out of poverty, how it's poised to be quite a key player on the global stage in this
century. Sean, I want to ask you this. You've done a lot of live cross, both of you. But like the first time when you joined Real-Time China, do you know that you can actually go in deep into villages like Jiawan village and actually going into the companies and talk to actual employees? Have you guys think of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I think I didn't go into a lot of villages. Definitely did visit some companies, especially in Huizhou.
So talking to real people.
Yeah, talking to real people who've really benefited from so much of what's happened over the past 40 years. Many young people who probably don't quite connect it, you know what I mean, to the past. This is just the life they've known, the life that they've grown up with. But definitely the kind of way in which people are maximizing opportunities and new things have become possibilities that didn't exist in the past. You get the feeling that young people in China are actually very, I don't know, forward-thinking, embracing the future, very positive in their mindset, that they see a lot of opportunity.
You know, I think that's really the core of reform and opening up. The 40 years, a lot of mindsets changed and all that. What about you, Sean?
You know, exactly. And we saw that this morning. Are we walking or are we going to stand?
I don't really know.
We will stay poised, ready to go.
Let's stay.
Right.
So live is going on there. That's the last
If our camera can pan to that side, we really want to give our viewers our final like after our anchors done their final live show, we want to talk to them a little bit, asking about their feelings. But right now they haven't quite done. So let's talk.
From 8 in the morning to 9 at night.
Right.
Every day. So that's
as I was talking about, they're doing 10 live shows every single day. They are very busy. But you guys too.
We probably went to 10 communities, and we did go to a lot of small areas, and you go in and you see everything from the dirt poor farmer who used to have substandard house, and now he has a much better house, and that's through his efforts as well as assistance from the government, which is needed to raise a nation out of poverty. And then at Dongguan, when we were in that high-tech facility today, we talked to a lady who has a master's degree, and she said nobody in her family before that could have even thought about attending college, and now it's there if you want to do it. And she also talked about the fact that they have so many PhDs in the sciences, in mathematics, and other entities that are needed to build the circuit boards at that site. And she said so many of the people who studied abroad, whether the UK or in the United States or wherever, they are choosing to come back to China, in part because they are being offered benefits, greater benefits to come back. So there's this enticement, and that is what kind of paves the way for the nation to move forward. The whole 2020, alleviate poverty.
Yeah,
right.
And you know what really struck me as well was that in as much as we're seeing, and on this journey we've been tracking change and transformation in the country. On one side, you're seeing all this change, all this transformation, but on the other side, you're seeing the things that might never change.
Right.
The things that people hold incredibly dear to them.
Right. I think that's what I and Shenzhen and I was just talking about. Like, we see a lot of Chinese legacies as well. Like, we visited some of the old academies, we went to Emperor Yan's mausoleum. A lot of traditions as well.
You visit like CGTN, that village is not modern, is open to tourism, but then still we have that core to that region, right?
I mean, it's interesting like how people prize the knowledge of people that carry, sort of just particular skills in making certain crafts, and this was in Dajidan, this was in Yangliqing. People that know how to do those New Year's paintings that are famous from Yangliqing, they're almost like, they're very special in that town.
Definitely.
They have this incredible skill, and it might not seem relevant to the modern transforming world, but it's incredibly relevant to China and Chinese people. And so they still have this sort of, sense of, they're really respected for this particular skill that they still offer.
And you were telling me about going to the Confucius Temple where people had to bow three times.
3 times, Both of us went there, and we bowed 3 times to Confucius because you got to do that if you want to enter the school.
Academy,
And while we're talking, I think our special guests who've been with us for the 3rd leg from Changsha. Thank you so much, Sean and Lindy. All right, so as I said, this trip was separated into 3 parts. The first trip, we went from the capital Beijing down to Zhengzhou, that's Henan province, right? And then from Zhengzhou, we traveled to Changsha, that's central China. And then now we're here in Shenzhen. And you guys joined for the 3rd leg, 4 days, 10 shows every single day. You made it. How does it feel? Tell me.
Congratulations! Yes, we did it.
So you guys are the experts here, giving out a lot of insights on, how the country has really changed over the 40 years. So Einar, after actually going to all of these cities, tell me, what did you see?
Well, I saw everything. I mean, we went through country villages. We're here in this megalopolis. But the funny thing about it is they're connected. What you have is this farmer whose wife works in Shenzhen, but he's in what is it, Zhou?
Guangzhou. One daughter in Guangzhou, and the other daughter is preparing for her Gaokao in the county, in the school in the county.
And he's still working the 4 hectares of land that the family has had forever. We stood in front of a 400-year-old town hall. I mean, it was just incredible. But just seeing the connection between him out in the very rural area and Shenzhen, the fact that all of this was possible because of the planning and the execution that the government had done. And it's heartwarming to see that the prosperity is being shared. It's not the situation where only the wealthy are taking everything. And this is a problem in the world today. And I think China has addressed it very well.
Right. So, do you guys have
serious? Sorry.
Yes,
but I mean that's what.
I mean, we had a lot of fun along the way as well, right?
Dance parties, we had it all. I mean, and we had you.
Right,
Don't kid
right.
yourself. We
Dancing
had
with you
you.
guys, and you have some really great dancing moves.
Yeah.
Xinchen,
Do you want to
unfortunately.
show this a little bit?
A little bit.
But what about you,
Yeah.
daughter Han? Just because you're you're
Yeah.
teaching in Beijing, but
Yeah.
then now we're in the south. Do you see the differences between those two parts of China? And do you think there's more connections to because we have the Zhuhai economic delta, the Zhu Delta region here,
Pearl River.
Pure River Delta region.
I'm not a teacher, when I'm on the road, I feel like I'm a student on the road.
I feel like you're
because-
more like a friend, like you're really telling stuff.
She's
not
so modest. She used to run News Corp.
I feel like
Because
Miss.
the learning curve for me is so steep because I think the program it presents to the audience as well to the world a real China. It's not only the real time but the reality of China after the 40 years of reforming and opening up. That's so meaningful. We have our pride like the Shenzhen speed, Shenzhen miracle.
Yes, yeah.
But down the road in the central China, in Changsha province, in Changsha, or in some other cities,
Yes.
as well as the villages, we also see that they're still, they're still pulling their strengths together and want to get a better life. They're still on the way.
But they've gone so far.
Exactly.
And the opportunities are there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, it's about connectivity, and we also have the commitment. I can feel that they are committed to their own lives and they're committed to a brighter future, while the government, the other resources, the allocation, they are also committed. So
Yeah.
it's commitment.
A commitment, yes.
Thank you so much, Miss Han. I don't know if you guys heard the applause. I think the TV set has done there.
We finished the last TV live show for Real Time China.
All right, thank you so much, Ina and Miss Han. Thank you so much along the way. Thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you so much. We made it. Congratulations.
We'll go do those dance moves later.
Absolutely. All right,
But
let's.
this program will not be possible if without our chief editor.
It's our Miss Youngning here. We got Miss Youngning here. So
And
we've talked to a lot of reporters
Work
from
towards this.
yeah. We've talked to reporters from CGTN America. We talked to Lindy with CGTN Africa. We talked to our guests. Both of them think this program is really showing what has changed over the 40 years. What do you think? As the kind of leader of this whole program, do you think this is necessary?
First of all, I think I have to say that we feel so proud to make a bold idea come into reality.
It's
The
a long
past
way
10
of
days is
launching.
really unforgettable. Yeah. How do you feel? Because I have been with this program throughout the past 10 days. I really feel that this is a very special trip, both physically and spiritually. Physically, as you all know, that we have spent tightly scheduled 10 days, crossing 8 provinces and municipalities, traveling over 4,000 kilometers. Yeah, almost 400 kilometers
On
per
a
day.
bus.
Yeah.
It's really unbelievable,
know.
And each day, we only have 3 time slots to get off the bus.
Right.
And for the rest 10 hours, we were all on the bus. It has already become a luxury for all of us to stretch our arms when we get on the ground.
Yeah.
But
But as we
Yeah.
pass along through the cities on the bus, we still have guests from local community and come
Right.
onto the bus and to share the knowledge about it. So despite
If I
that
can
we're on-
interrupt here, I just want a camera to pan to that side. The CGTN crew, look how many people is involved in this whole
we have about
program.
7
yeah,
We're
we
having
have
some-
altogether over 70 people participated into this program. And following my remarks just now, spiritually, I think this trip is really rewarding. I think to all of us, even to our Chinese, we feel that it's truly a journey of rediscovery. The journey unfolded the richness of our Chinese culture and also the profoundness of China's transformation during the past 40 years. I think if you ask me what has impressed me most during the journey,
I really want to ask you that question.
I would like to say it was not a specific city, nor was it a specific topic, but a general feeling that to manage and rule a vast and complicated country like China is really a huge challenge job.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such an accomplishment.
Yeah, so complicated. China is so vast. I think the whole world should be aware that China's growth will not benefit itself, but will also benefit the whole
Overall,
world.
look at the world economy. We're contributing.
Exactly,
China's contributing
exactly.
1/3 of
Yeah.
the world economic
Yeah.
growth.
So I guess Thank you so much, Miss Yao.
Yeah.
And I think we should probably turn to that side, ladies and gentlemen. We got our anchors here, Michael and Erica, and also our line producer.
Oh, look at these.
Look at they are anchors. Congratulations, guys. We made it.
Yeah.
Guys, good job.
right.
Yeah.
So tell us, what's your feelings right now? Tell us. You've been here for the entire 4 days, doing 10 live shows every single day.
Like 40,
Yeah. 40
altogether,
shows.
yeah.
You know, it's funny because just like a few hours ago, I remember feeling like tired, and I asked I asked one of the editors. I said, "Can we get coffee?" But right now, I'm just got adrenaline like pumping. Shenzhen is gorgeous.
Do you want to stay for another 2 days?
Yes, I do actually. I
Without
would
shows,
to.
probably.
Without shows, exactly.
Right, so if I want to ask you this, would you, like, if we're doing this all over again, would you still join us?
100%.
What about you, Michael?
I think for maybe the 50th year of Reform and opening up, we should start from the northeast, start a little bit further up, and
I know
then
you're
head.
from there, right?
Because I'm from the northeast of China, so I want you guys to see the part of the area where my family originated from and came from. So, you know, the northeast of China has got beautiful scenery as well. It also has its own unique experience throughout Reform and opening up. So maybe for the 45th year or the 50th year, we can start a little bit further north and then go all the way south to Hainan. Yeah, or maybe
We should
take a
probably
look.
talk to our bosses about that,
Yeah, probably.
Or
we
maybe
can do
look
that.
at the western areas of the country as well.
Wait a minute.
Sichuan.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's
Yeah.
all great, but I want to keep going south. I want to keep going south. I like the palm tree part.
Great beaches in Hainan.
Yeah, it
by the
is,
way.
yeah.
And
Fantastic.
the weather,
Like
too.
80 degrees
like,
all year round, I think.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I want to spin it around on you guys. As native Chinese, what for you was a big moment? I mean, there are places that you went along the way that you've never seen or known about, correct?
Right, I think both of us were just talking about this, right? We went to some, ancient academies. We went to, Emperor Yan's mausoleum. A lot of Chinese legacies and traditions we've seen.
And it wasn't like my first time to visit the Shaolin Temple, actually, in
Amazing.
person. And I saw like 8,000 pupils practicing.
How powerful was that?
I didn't know how to put it in words, to be honest. Yeah, definitely,
Words
yeah.
can't describe it, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
amazing.
mean, look at them. They're from like 8 years old to like 12 or 13, but 8,000 of them, like minus 5 degrees Celsius, and they're practicing in the field.
You know, I felt very special at Emperor Yan's mausoleum because, being from the Northeast, when I'm back there, I feel a sense of connection with my family, right? But being at Emperor Yan's mausoleum, you sort of feel connected to your entire past, the civilizational past, a connection with all Chinese people once you're over there. So that was definitely a highlight for me, I feel.
Right, so Chinese people are oftentimes refer to themselves as descendants of Emperor Yan and Huang.
yeah.
So really, you can tell how much Emperor Yan means to
Yeah.
Chinese people,
Yeah.
right?
But then if we look at the Chinese reform and opening up, it's a reform and opening up. Because you are into business, and we're
He's
thinking...
the biz guy. The biz guy.
And we look back for the past 4 decades, and what really struck you from the stories that you're reporting, I know what you saw.
I think
I know. I'm going to answer for him.
What is it?
Because we're a work husband and wife now. I believe that he was totally blown away by how much e-commerce is helping even the tiniest villages.
Yeah.
And now he's also an effort for poverty alleviation right now.
Exactly. There are many unique models that you can see here in China in terms of tackling poverty, in terms of what it means for smaller and more medium-sized cities to really boost their living standards that perhaps a lot of other countries, especially other developing nations, can draw experiences and lessons from. And like I said just a few moments ago, I really think these 40 years of reform and opening up, it's a foundation. You've set up the foundation for the next 40 years of reform and opening up. And I think maybe for the past 40 years, it was more about China, but for the next few decades, as China reforms itself and opens itself more to the world, China's reform and opening up is going to be a lot more about cooperation with the world and what it means for the world. It's going to have a lot more impact
has to be,
on the
right?
global stage. On the
Right.
global stage, it's not just going to be about China anymore.
For sure.
And look, from a, I'm just going to ask myself a question. Just from a foreign perspective, and this is, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but also it helps. It helps. But okay, so I'm American. I didn't know a lot about China before I took this job and moved my family all the way across the world, right? And
You were just here for a year, right?
I've
Less
only
than
been
a year.
I've been
Less
less
than
than
a
a year.
year. Okay.
Yeah, and I
So everything is new to you.
I didn't know much about Chinese history. I was always interested, but like I just really didn't know a lot. I have to be honest, but I have to say that also provides more of a total clean slate in terms of the way that I view things. So for people out there, for foreigners, wherever they are, I just feel like if they don't know much about China, to have watched our roadshow, they would have learned a heck of a lot.
Right.
Because I know I did. The idea that only 40 years, I hate to age myself here, folks, but that's exactly how old I am. And I consider myself young. And that just means that that is still how, in a sense, the modern society of China is in terms of reform and opening up. And to know like what Michael pointed out earlier in the show about if you look back here, I don't know, a couple decades ago,
It was a fishing village.
we were talking about a fishing
rice
village,
paddies,
talking about rice paddies behind us, and now look at it.
Yeah.
That is totally mind-blowing, and if more and more foreigners truly understood that, they could begin to understand, wow, how incredible China is in terms of its breakneck pace of development. It really is mind-boggling.
I think also technology and sort of this connectivity.
Oh, don't get me started about WeChat. Do not get me started.
WeChat is one thing.
My life.
There's no comparison, I think, for WeChat on the international stage in terms of what this app can do. And that was founded in Guangzhou, of course, here in Guangdong province. But just in terms of the speed of technological advancement that we see here in this country, and technology is being dispersed all the way from small villages all the way to large cities like this. This city is home to the world's largest drone maker, of course, also DJI, Tencent, of course. It seems like also some of these smaller villages have leapfrogged a lot of other technologies that you see. We're coming up very fast in terms of 5G as well, and the interconnectivity of cities, right?
Oh yeah, it's totally crazy. One of the things that I wanted to point out that I went, whoa, I had a whoa moment along the journey was when we were in Dongguan. Okay, so there are going to be a lot of foreigners that have no idea what that is, what that city is. I don't know. Did you know Dongguan?
I did know that.
Okay. So I didn't. But I mean, it was dubbed like the world's factory. I had no idea that the term, made in China. This is something I've seen on all of my, everything in my life, including, I believe, my little leather jacket I was wearing along the way, made in China by one of my favorite designers. But in any case, one of our guests, Han Hua, had pointed that out, that Guangdong province was where the whole stamp made in China came from, and Dongguan being one of those places that is such a huge industrialized place with so many factories contributing to that very stamp is just, that's crazy. That's wild.
And now we're also moving from like commodities to more like high tech systems.
Right.
Exactly.
And even microchips.
But not leaving it, right? Still got to hang on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think also for China in terms of upgrading its consumption as well. I mean, this is the world's largest consumer market, and as Chinese consumers become more affluent, that's also going to push forward technological advancement as well. So,
and also pushing for further opening up, I guess.
Exactly.
Ooh, one more thing I want to say, because you brought this up. He and I were talking about this, the whole idea of the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
Because we might lose Michael. He might be like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go start me a business.
But you feel the vibe. You feel the vibe from small villages who are capitalizing on their local niche resource. For example, honey at Jiawan.
I bought honey.
And she bought a bottle of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly. So. Exactly. I mean, you feel the spirit of entrepreneurship, and what'll be interesting to see is, can you transfer this kind of entrepreneurial mindset in the greater Bay Area, like here in Shenzhen, to other parts of China as well?
You know what's interesting? I think the government is actually sending officials from big cities down to villages to help them to get this kind of entrepreneurial ideas, and that's just fascinating.
That's
because
huge, right? The whole education aspect of it as well, and empowering even people in the smallest villages who may not have, very high of an education or anything like that, or didn't have means. You actually too can be somebody that you don't have to come to Shenzhen to live. You can do it right from your own village.
And again, these villages are connected with cell phone towers, and I mean with 4G and all that stuff. All you need is a cell phone. All you need is somebody to tell you how to use this e-commerce platform.
How to get on the internet.
Exactly. And we went up a winding mountain road into this small village, and with that cell phone, you are empowered to sell your products all across the nation, essentially.
Lest we forget. So we've done 100 100 shows.
Yes.
Okay, over
Yeah.
10 days.
All together.
And this
yeah.
is what's incredible. I mean, first of all, I from America, Western media would never have tackled this incredibly ambitious road show. But over all of those shows, I think, well, Michael and I can remember only twice that we even lost our signal in terms
Yeah.
of the
Right.
connectivity.
Isn't that amazing?
And I think the other
Yeah.
anchor said the same thing, only once or twice. So you're talking about a handful of times over how many hours were we
And
on
we're in
there?
a bus. We're
yeah,
in
we're
a
in a
mobile
mobile
studio.
Yeah.
Mobile studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't
Mountains,
that amazing?
valleys, all
Yeah.
over the place. It's incredible.
Actually, I think we did a hit while we were going through a tunnel.
no, we did.
We
definitely
We
did.
did. Yeah. So I mean, talk about signal power. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah.
All right, I think. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
They've
really
done
good
a
here. Yeah.
super long day for them.
I know, yeah.
I
Time
know.
to celebrate.
Let's wrap up
It would be
first.
a shame
Let
to
them
not
celebrate. Let's. All right, Shenzhen, you gotta wrap up this with me. Thank you so much, guys. Once, guys. Yeah, just want to sort of wrap it up a little bit.
Yes.
You know, it's a long way. We got so many folks being here with us, and of course our viewers. Just want to give a special shout out to all of our viewers who've been with us for the entire 10 days.
Have stayed with us.
Right. For those of you who haven't been with us the whole time, it's okay.
We back to rewatch all those live
Right, and
streams
also we just
et
want to
cetera.
thank you for learning about China with us. It's an amazing journey along the way. You've been here for the entire 10 days. I've been here for the
last part, but the most important part.
Right.
We're here in Shenzhen.
I'm really glad I'm here in Shenzhen. The warm, the temperature, everything's just so awesome here. Like Michael and Erica, I'm so excited right now.
Yeah, definitely, and I hope that we can have like more like similar programs like this in
Right.
the coming years.
You know
So
what,
we can
Xinchen?
yeah.
I guess it's time to celebrate. Let's just wrap up this
Yeah,
thing.
definitely. Yeah.
Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much for watching, and we want you to follow us on all of our social media platform. That's CGTN and also CGTN official on our Weibo, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and of course our Instagram. If our camera can pan to that side, I think our crew is taking a big photo. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave it from here. Thank you so much, guys!
Yay!
All right, all of us.
Everybody in.
All right. So I think we're just posing for photos right now. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Everybody, bye! Whoa!
Thanks for joining us on Real